Autoline Daily is brought to you by Borg Warner. Feel good about driving. Bosch. The number of clean diesel models in North America will double by 2014. Bosch Clean Diesel. Good, clean, fun. Bridgestone. Your journey, our passion. And by Dow Automotive Systems. Improving durability and increasing design flexibility with Betamate structural adhesives at dowbetamate.com.
Welcome to Autoline Daily for June 6, 2012. And as you history buffs know, this is the 68th anniversary of the landings at Normandy. Now let's get to the news. Canadian auto workers are worried, and with good reason. GM is closing an assembly line in Oshawa. There are rumblings that Chrysler could close its landlocked plant in Brampton. Ford closed its St. Thomas plant last year and will close an engine plant next year. So what's going on? Canadian workers have a good reputation for quality and productivity, but they are expensive. With the Canadian dollar at parity with the US dollar, and with the Detroit 3 able to hire new UAW workers at much lower wages than the CAW allows, more work is moving south of the border to the United States. Fiat Chrysler CEO Sergio Marchionne is calling for all automakers in Europe to form a united front to reduce overcapacity, which could reach 2 million vehicles this year. But German automakers are not playing ball. They're all pretty profitable right now and do not feel they need to make any cuts. Besides, if Europe does not cut overcapacity, it will weaken everyone else. So the Germans figure, why should they take steps that would help their competitors? Currently, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, and Volkswagen are running at 90% capacity utilization. Other OEMs range anywhere from 60 to 75%, with Fiat, PSA, and Renault at the bottom of the scale. Analysts doubt anything's going to change, since that would mean job cuts, and some call Marchionne's plan a fairy tale. The electric version of the Honda Fit just received the highest rating from the EPA for pure electric vehicles. It has a combined equivalent of 118 miles per gallon, and its estimated combined range is 82 miles. The combined range for the Ford Focus Electric is 76 miles, the Nissan Leaf 73 miles, and the Mitsubishi i 62 miles. Honda will begin leasing the Fit EV in California and Oregon this summer, and then offer it on the East Coast starting next year. A few years back, there was a lot of hype over Indian truck maker Mahindra selling cheap pickups in the United States. But now the company is being sued for fraud and conspiracy. Yesterday, a number of dealers in the U.S. filed a lawsuit claiming that Mahindra intentionally delayed certifying its trucks in the U.S., even though the company claimed the trucks were ready for sale. Dealers spent $60 million on fees and upgrading facilities. Their suit claims Mahindra delayed certification so it could break its commitments with those dealers and look for other partners. The number of diesel-powered vehicles offered in North America keeps growing, and if a report from Car and Driver is accurate, a luxury flagship will soon join the oil-burning ranks. BMW's refreshed 2013 7 Series is expected to get a 3-liter diesel straight six. Output could be anywhere from 265 to 308 horsepower, depending on which version of the engine is going to be used. It's reported the company is waiting on final approval from the U.S. government to sell the Diesel 7. Coming up next, it is time for You Said It.
Reducing exhaust emissions, aerified diesel particulate filters, high filtration, low back pressure, small package size, excellent durability. DowAerify.com.
And now it's time for some of your feedback. Tony Gray saw our review of the Subaru Legacy, which had all kinds of road dirt on it. And he says, boy, you think Subaru could have taken 5 minutes to wash that car before they gave it to you for your video review. Well, actually, Tony, all of our test cars are delivered to us gleamingly clean. But as we put those cars through their paces, they get dirty. And sometimes we have to shoot them as is if we don't have time to take them to the car wash. Ron Paris says, "What a shame about Johan de Nysschen leaving Audi North America. To me, he was the true face of Audi in America, and I always found your interviews with him fascinating. He's a real class act and a great loss to VW." You're right, Ron, but all I can say is that Audi's loss is Infinity's gain. Drew wants to know, did anyone else notice in the sales numbers that the Lexus RX outsold all Lexus cars combined? You're right, Drew, as long as you're talking about passenger cars. The RX accounts for 49.6% of all Lexus sales, or at least it did last month. But that's been around the same case for some time now. It shows how good a vehicle the RX is, but it also highlights Lexus's vulnerability. It relies too heavily on one model, and if anything happens to take the shine off RX sales, Lexus could be in trouble. Brent saw our reports that the Mustang outsold the Camaro last month. Wow, he says, the Mustang finally caught the Camaro. However, you can probably attribute that to early release of the 2013 design. Expect the Camaro to be on top again once the 2013 comes out. Well, Brent, it's going to be nip and tuck this year between those two cars. Year to date, the Camaro is only about 2,000 units ahead of the Mustang. And speaking of the next generation Mustang, one of our viewers, Sean Sweeney, has been sending us his own renderings of what he would like the next Mustang to look like. And I've got to say, I really like his vision of what it could become. And I also believe he's got the right design cues for what will actually go into production. Brett complains that with the end of the production of the Ford Ranger, there is no longer a small pickup choice for Americans. I spoke with a friend this past weekend who just purchased a used Ranger, and he told me he had to pay a premium for it, even with 70,000 miles. Well, Brett, there no longer is a small pickup from Ford, but Toyota has the Tacoma, Nissan has the Frontier, and GM is going to do facelifts on the Colorado and Canyon. So there will be some small pickups around for a while. And finally, Jim Haynes says, "I really like the Borg Warner ad at the break. I am glad to see somebody promote their products using Indy cars to do it." And boy, we just love it when our viewers say they love to watch our sponsors' ads. Hey, be sure to join us for Autoline After Hours tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Our guest will be Dan Kapp from Ford Advanced Powertrain, and the guy who will be taking EcoBoost to the next level. Join me and the auto extremist Peter DeLorenzo for the best insider discussion in the business. And that wraps up today's report. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.